It's nice to see my home state try to do the right thing. Both the State House and Senate have passed a bill to repeal handgun purchase permits. They still have to get the bill through the final committee, and it's not likely our stupid Governor Roy Cooper will sign it. Sadly, this Raleigh News and Observer article was the best one I could find, and even there you can see the bias with which the media is reporting this, making a big deal in the headline that one sponsor voted no. What they didn't mention is that this law is a remnant of the Jim Crow era being passed in 1919 to prevent blacks from owning firearms. HB 50 would repeal a state law requiring anyone buying a handgun to first obtain a permit from their local sheriff's office. The only Democrat to sponsor the bill was Michael Ray of Halifax County, who voted against it, saying a sheriff in his district urged him not to vote for it. I'm calling bogosity. Most sheriff's offices want the bill repealed because the paperwork they have to go through every time someone buys a handgun is a nightmare. And in fact, the North Carolina Sheriff's Association support the repeal. House member Alan Chesser of Nash County said, quote, "The bill ensures Second Amendment rights are not infringed by a subjective process. It will prevent undue delays for lawful purchases of firearms." And those delays, as we've covered, can cost lives. People needing to buy a weapon to protect themselves from a credible threat often find themselves denied the means of defense when the person threatening them can and often does attack sooner rather than later. Guilford County Democrat Pricey Harrison whined, quote, "It's going to increase folks who have access to guns who shouldn't have them." But who is she to say who should and should not have access to a fundamental constitutional right? This bill does nothing to change the background check requirement, concealed carry permits, or anything of the sort. It just removes an extra, arbitrary, useless delay. And again, I'll remind you that the whole point of this law is to stop black people from owning guns. So, by her own statement, she said that repealing this law, which would increase opportunities for gun ownership among blacks, would give access to people who shouldn't have them. So who do you think she was talking about? Amber Baker of Forsyth County said she didn't want to get rid of a gun control law at a time when gun violence is rising, even though gun violence isn't rising. Other Democrats engaged in the same fear-mongering about violence and mass shootings, both of which are on the decline. Keith Kidwell of Beaufort County called them on it, quote, "I don't have to get a background check to get a newspaper. I don't have to get a background check to go vote. I don't have to get a background check to keep troops from being housed in my home, but I have to get one for this. One of the most sacred rights we have, in fact a lot of people have died for, is the right to vote, and I know there's a lot of people on this floor that are against having ID to do that." But Marcia Morey of Durham County actually bragged that the sheriff of her county had denied 133 permits last year because they had good cause and good reason. She didn't say what they were, but remember, this is a Jim Crow law, and a 2021 study published in North Carolina Law Review found that 23.54% of black applicants were denied permits, but only 8.37% of whites. So that's apparently what she thinks is good cause and good reason. Becky Sirtis, executive director of North Carolinians Against Gun Violence, bleated, quote, "Why would we repeal a law that has been proven to save lives when gun violence is already at an all-time high in NC? Because it hasn't been proved to save lives. In fact, according to the North Carolina Sheriff's Association, as many as half of the permits issued might be held by ineligible people." Grassroots North Carolina wrote, "Their position that the repeal would increase violent crime rests on the ludicrous notion that criminals responsible for gun violence are inexplicably obeying the purchase permit law, the permits for which are untraceable slips of paper. Given that most North Carolinians don't even know a purchase permit is required for a private transfer, it's a safe bet that when gang members sell each other firearms, no purchase permits are used." It's just one more piece of evidence on the pile that progressive Democrats have not moved from their eugenicist roots. One more time, we see them actively defending racist laws from the Jim Crow era while they and the news media don't even point that out. How is it not deliberate by this point?